Hello, and welcome to the discussion of Xanathar's Guide and more. I'm here with our our DM for the holiday special tomorrow and the day after, Pete.
Hello.
So, my understanding is that you have yet to read Xanathar's Guide, or
Xanathar's Guide?
yeah.
Nope, haven't read it.
So, do you have any questions about it?
What's Xanathar's Guide?
Xanathar's Guide is the new options and rules to to D&D. Some they do a crafting explanation for a crafting system for crafting items and magical items. They have common magical items. They have a rolling table for life things like do you have siblings? How many siblings? What's your family life like? But mainly the thing it's most noted for is the new subclasses they added.
Subclasses. Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah. So
Any nice subclasses?
I like the ancestral barbarian. They that one looks pretty cool. It's very supportish. They have the drunken monk. I love the drunken monk, though I think the Kinsei is much more powerful and cooler. But I love the drunken master monk because I love that sort of theme. They've added new paladin oaths, which are both very cool. They added a very evil oath called the Oath of Conquest.
Nice.
And they've added the Oath of Redemption, which is
For Fallen.
yeah, I guess. They some classes were not so subclasses not so good. Like even Tom and I are in agreement on this one that the Storm Herald was not very good because it adds all these effect damages, but all the damage are just small single digit numbers, like 2 or 3, instead of rolling dice.
Storm Herald is
Barbarian.
a new. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but since you're here, I guess we can't talk about much about Xanathar's Guide. We can talk about the holiday game a little bit.
No, we can't.
Okay. So
that's for tomorrow. Yeah. It's a holiday themed Death House. That's what we talk about.
Yeah, it's Death House. It's a Christmas themed Death House. Which I think me and Aaron, you probably had fun just coming up with suggestions for what we can do with it. I think Tom did as well.
There's been suggestions thrown around. I hope everyone gets in the holiday spirit for it. Yeah. It is Quest to Save Christmas.
So what I can talk about is that I've discussed before is our 4 characters, our 4 players. We have a Tiefling Warlock played by Jody, and she has, as a part of her backstory, she has antlers, horns instead of horns.
Very Christmassy.
Yeah, very Christmassy. I played a drunken monk who gets drunk till Christmas.
What are you going to do after Christmas?
Start drinking all over again. I don't know.
Get drunk until next Christmas.
Yeah. So yeah, there's my drunken monk, which I'm quite proud of that creation. There's Aaron who's playing a Water Ganassi's Tempest Cleric. I believe it's Water Ganassi or Ganassi, whatever you call it. That race that was added in Elemental Evil when it was added into Prince's Apocalypse. Those 4 elemental races. He's a water version of that. And we have Tom playing a half-elf wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Which
yes, we do.
Yeah, I believe he's doing War Magic, which is also
Mm.
from a subclass from Xanathar's Guide. So me and Tom are both going to be using classes from Xanathar's Guide and taking them for a test drive.
Okay.
So that's going to be fun.
And we have little tiny Tim, an English boy, who will be following you around.
Oh, that's great. Uh, but I think one of the things I wanted to ask was, and I'm probably going to lose this, on if you were to take wagers on which one of us would die the most. And
Which is on who?
I'm pretty sure it'd be me because I'm a close range fighter without armor. I'm the only, except for the cleric, the only close range fighter.
Hmm. Yeah, it's probably between you and the cleric. Probably you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing if I were a gambling man, I would bet I was gonna die probably 5 times.
The first major encounter is pretty strict on, or pretty deadly on close range fighters.
5 times, man. 5 times. Oh, that's right. We're those that don't know, we are doing a variation of the Dark Gifts from Adventure League's Curse of Strahd, which is Death House come from. Basically, when you die, you can have the choice to come back, but you come back cursed, getting a Dark Gift and another one. I think we discussed doing holiday themed versions of those.
We do have holiday themed curses.
Okay. So yeah, there's that.
The character's eyes turn into blinking Christmas tree lights. The character develops reindeer antlers. Well, that won't actually affect one for characters.
Yeah, so when you die, you come again. And I think I've had a character who, when we did Death House with Bard Party, they died twice. He got brought back twice, so that's why I'm guessing I'm going to die 5 times, because I've already died several times. I think the only two people who are most likely to survive are Jody and Tom, because Tom's a good player, and Jody survived the last Death House when the whole Bard Party got wiped. He was the only Bard that got away.
Yeah, it depends on how good you are running away.
Yeah.
It is not called. It's called Death House for a reason.
It is. It really is.
It's almost always guaranteed someone's going to die.
Another topic. Aaron, who sadly couldn't join us, wanted to do a topic about Xanathar's Guide and about Adventures League. Our experiences with Adventures League. Would you like to share any of your experiences with Adventures League, or? And what do you believe the pros and cons to it are?
Oh, geez, I need like time to prepare for this. Pros is it's structured, so you have less chance of like having characters that are like totally gimp or totally overpowered. Con is still has quite a bit of min-maxing that happens with a lot of players. I see a lot of players just min-maxing their characters, trying to get the most damage out of them.
I think I was guilty of that in the beginning when I was first getting.
I think everyone's guilty of it, even me.
Yeah.
I think it's just nature of Dungeons and Dragons or any role-playing game that focuses heavily on combat, and eventually pushes you away from role-play and towards combat, because it's the players want to do fights, get experience from doing the fights, level up, and so on, and they don't want to spend a lot of time role-playing encounter or something like that, because it could take hours when you're usually stuck to 3 or 4 hours to complete a module. Yeah. So players really concentrate on combat, and they spend almost no time role-playing.
have to agree with that con. There is a lot of min maxing, and there's a lot of misses on combat, but not on roleplay. But you know, I do believe they're getting slowly better with it. That, but I mean, I sometimes you have to make your own roleplay, and I think there's two examples that come to mind. One was when I played Sunless Citadel. We before we even got to Sunless Citadel, we set up a situation for ourselves where we got an hour of roleplay in.
Mm-hmm.
And the other time was, I think you were DMing as where we had to go to this guardhouse for information to get to this one place, and you turned it into a DMV where we had to wait in line, and this old lady kept taking the guys' places when they left.
I tried to put some comedy sometimes into my adventures, or at least something that entertains the players.
I believe we had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it was a good time. You guys tried to break it, though. You guys sure did try to break that module.
It's funny because Aaron complains about Yumi and someone else. We're always trying to. It was hard to keep it within the module with us, our shenanigans.
Yeah. Sometimes players' shenanigans can try to go outside the boundaries of the module, which can also be a problem with Adventures League, because you really can't do a lot outside the module. Because you can't award experience for stuff that happens outside the module. You can't you don't have stats for anything outside the module, or detail on locations or anything like that outside the module, or the characters. And you have to be careful with the eventually modules, because if you kill off an important NPC or something like that, could affect the players down line, because that NPC may come back.
I think like something like that happened to me when I had to end an adventure early, halfway through, because this one person that was supposed to be kidnapped got rescued. They managed to rescue them, and then I had to end the module there because there's nothing to do.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think if pros is that it's very community based, and it's a great community from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you meet people, you interact with them, and so forth. Con, I would also say, is that it's also restricting to certain areas of the Silver Coast, but you never go to the places. I've only been to where once, and we had to leave, and that was Cloud Giant's Bargain, where we only get to briefly visit one of the three famous cities of Forgotten Realms, like Waterdeep, Neverwinter, and Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, there's not a lot of focus on those locations.
Yeah.
It's mostly around the sea, the Moon Sea. At least most modules we've done is around Moon Sea, and the Moon Sea is more of a central location on the Sword Coast. It doesn't actually get to the coast. It's more inland. There's lots of stuff to be seen around the Moon Sea, but Sword Coast is kind of interesting too. I would really love to do like a Baldur's Gate themed adventure.
That would actually be awesome. I mean, like we had a lot of fun for the short time we had when we played Cloud Giant's Bargain in Neverwinter, which was just one fight in the alley. So forth, but it's
or maybe an Undermountain campaign.
That would be awesome. But
where's Undermountain? What city is Undermountain in?
Yeah, but another thing is that these areas we're in are these secluded towns in the middle of nowhere. I think we've only seen one city, and that was in Rage of Demons with the red plumes. That's
Well, we've seen like 3 or 4 cities. We've seen Flan. We've seen
oh, I don't think Flan's a city. I think it's a town.
yeah, I guess more townish. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. We're
Oh,
always saying,
Waterdeep. Yeah,
oh, were
that's
we in
it.
Waterdeep?
No, but Undermountain is near Waterdeep,
Okay,
if I recall correctly.
yeah, but for all its cons, though, there are pros as well. Like I said, it's very community based, and the adventures themselves are good. Most of them are, and it's and you always are. Well, it sounds kind of selfish, but you're always rewarded a magic item.
Yeah, you're always toward Magic Item, but I do feel that the at least early in the first couple seasons that the Magic Items were very limited. They're fairly focused on certain character classes, and if you didn't have a character class that did fit in one of the few, you usually didn't get any useful magic items for your character.
I do remember getting one item, and you and the other guy, I don't want to say his name out loud because I don't know how he feels about me talking about him on stream of his name being mentioned. But you and him passed over this one item that was called the Robe of Eyes, and you let me have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because your argument was that if you fought a Medusa or Basilisk or something, you'd be immediately petrified.
Yep. Pretty well, yep.
So you passed it over and let me have it because I really didn't have any magic items. And it was hard to get a magic item for a paladin outside the books. Like, there was another person who played a paladin who I'm probably going to bring up in videos on my channel a lot in stories because a lot of my crazy shenanigans involve him, who had a paladin dragonborn who got Dwarvish Blade from the book, got a sword called Dawnbringer, which is an upgraded version of the Sun Sword, and but he got useful items by playing the books, and there's more items in the books than they are in the Adventurers League. Well, that's not always true.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Okay.
Well, the magic items in the books are you can get them fairly early in the books if you know where to look, if your DM lets you do that, and they're very powerful items.
Yeah. Though I think
like Dawnbringer is one of those.
Yeah. Though I did find that there are ways around it. And some people had to make up stuff, which I don't know if was allowed in Adventures League. But by amping up monsters with new abilities and stuff like that. What was I saying? Yeah. It was that there's ways around it, like the Mind Flayer. I got in a situation. I was a really powerful paladin, and he mind dumped me, and I was just sitting there, just all dumbified, couldn't do anything. While that same paladin I talked about had the Dawnbringer and so forth, rushed right in, and got his brain eaten by the Mind Flayer.
Nice. Brains. I did like playing the Mind Flayers. I had good fun with the Mind Flayers.
Yeah, there was also other creatures like slods that would. Oh, I guess Aaron is joining us.
Ah, no.
Aaron.
Hello.
Aaron, we are on live.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Just kidding.
Yeah. We were talking about Adventures League. But
were we?
Yeah, we were talking about Mind Flayers and how we're trying to discuss what are the pros of Adventures League. or trying to find out what they're, because we've been talking about cons mostly. But you probably you DM in adventure leagues a lot. You probably know the if. Okay. Oh, here he comes in.
Okay, I'm back.
All right.
Sorry about that.
So you DM a lot in Adventures League, Aaron. You probably know better than anyone what are the pros of Adventures League.
So, you know, Adventures League is kind of meant to be a way to bring people in to the game, and so to that end, it's kind of meant to have a lot of people sometimes complain about Adventures League because the rules are too strict or they're inflexible or whatever. But in actuality, the point is that you have more consistent rules from one DM to the next, from one table to the next, from one store to the next, and that it kind of provides a little bit more structure to allow people to learn the game in the first place and to learn RPG games. And I think the mistake was a lot of people going into it thought it was more like advanced Dungeons and Dragons, advanced rule set or advanced, and more competitive or whatever you will. And that's not really the point of it. The point is to just expose people who haven't, and to provide and if you look at the adventure leagues, there are actually some rules, and a lot of it is about just being welcoming, being patient with people, not making people feel harassed or unwelcome, and that's kind of the whole. If you think about the fact that those rules exist, that they're there, that's kind of brings you to what the whole point of Adventures League is. And I know initially I was reluctant to play D&D at a game store, as Pete can attest to. And everybody, I think you probably had, Mike probably had your own reservations about just showing up in the first place and playing, right?
Yeah, I had to be dragged by a friend to the store because, those who don't know, I do suffer from mental health issues, and I had very big anxiety, and I was very shy around people, so I had to be dragged. And eventually, when I got in with your group, with you guys, I actually kind of came a lot more on my shell in Adventures League. So I guess that's one good benefit of Adventures League, is that it's very, like I said earlier, it's very community based. It's really friendly, and it can be very open to new people. And I think your point is it's a great way to introduce new people to the hobby. What is that?
It's a great way to what now?
It's a great way to introduce new people to the game.
Yeah, get people exposed to the game and get them learning how to play it. And then once people have their own work groups, their play groups, then you can do things like, okay, let's now that we're all familiar with the game, familiar with how it's played, now we can do homebrew, or ignore the PHB +1 rule, or that kind of stuff. So and so it keeps it a little, I should say, that's not to say that it's not cool to say, hey, look, I've got this tier 3 or tier 4 PC that's Adventure League legal. That's pretty cool. I know a lot of people, they harp on Adventures League,